Traders, investors, what is going on? We are back. So first off, congratulations to anyone that caught this. I tweeted about it, probably a little late if you saw it there. So I was talking about it in a Discord around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and even after hours. I mean, you could have caught the 20% run after hours too. So it was about 8:50, around 1 or 2 o'clock, so there's a couple point runs. So that was nice. Good to see runners coming back into the mix again. But that's not what this is about. We're going to talk about the stuff and things. Let's jump in. So let's talk about the Bitcoin crash of 2021. And I wouldn't say this is a correction, because a correction is, 30, 40. This is about a 50%. Yep, a little bit over 50% pullback there. So yeah, that's not a pullback. That's not a correction. That is a crash. What's interesting is kind of how it all unfolded. So in the last video, you heard me saying that, Elon Musk is up to something. Now, do I think he caused this? No, he certainly helped it. Whether he was in cahoots with the people that did this or not, they certainly took advantage of, all the fun, the situation at hand. We talked about how this fall right here was a timed hit piece from JP Morgan. Forgive me, I've deleted a lot of the little text boxes that I put here over the last couple weeks just because they were getting kind of cluttered and yeah. But anyways, so there has been time and time again where at kind of technical points and hit pieces come out. So big money has been shorting this thing. We know that. And it sucks because unlike a stock, we can't really look up the short volume. I mean, sure, you could go into Binance Futures and see what the short volume is on Bitcoin there, but that doesn't really give you a breath of what's going on. I think this was Tesla stops offering crypto payments the 11th, something like that. Yeah, there you go. And then in here we had like FUD coming from China, or maybe it was over in here, but it was FUD from China that basically said that some of the major banks have basically been issued a statement saying that they shouldn't be conducting transactions with Bitcoin. If they're trading the asset, that's fine, but actually sending money and receiving over Bitcoin, is frowned upon. Now what's interesting is this isn't a new policy. This has just basically been restated at an opportune time, causing more fear, more selling. I mean, even today they're spreading FUD. And it's working. Of course they're going to keep doing it. Like, don't fall for this shit. Don't sell. I mean, if you want to sell, sell. But don't get tricked, alright? Realize what's happening. I mean, the news that came out today, I tweeted about it. It's not even new news. They're just reiterating the same shit, just like China did, like recently. So someone in the Discord sent me this. And keep in mind the time frame, right? This is on the 18th at 3 o'clock. So it reads like this. Hey guys, Insider here. For those of you that aren't too busy Momo LARPing, pay attention. There is going to be an announcement from China soon. Can't tell you guys the firm I work for, but it's massive and it's working with the PRC. The purpose of today's press release, alongside all the FUD that's been posting, is to get BTC as low as possible before 7 a.m. UCT. First, there will be a coordinated sell-off to drop the price below a certain threshold and liquidate one certain stakeholder. Can't outright say who it is, but he bought a lot of the last dip and is partly responsible for it. Once liquidated, the plan is to buy up all the reserves and essentially leave him bankrupt. If you want to get rich, grab some coffee and watch for a big dip. Once it happens, things are going to get green really fast. We project 70K, that is all. So, consider the source, right? It's 4chan, it's anonymous. But the timestamp is very interesting. So at 3 o'clock, so there you go. Here's when that article was posted. And hours after that, the next morning, it dropped another 29%. So that is pretty extraordinary when you consider. So here you go. It took us, about a month to sell off to this point. 33%. And then literally in the course of a couple hours, 29%. And just look at the volume, right? The volume's going crazy. So So anyways, let me know what you think in the down there. I thought that that was very interesting. You know, definitely some tinfoil hat action there, but the timeline and the chain of events seems to make sense. So I'm with it. So my outlook going forward, I mean, it's going to be really critical that we make up some ground pretty quick here. We're in a sketchy place. I mean, that was a nice bounce, but that was a flush. You have flushing, you always have the overreaction down is mimicked by the overreaction back up. I'm not surprised that we saw a lot of buying, especially since we know that this was synthetic, right? So of course they're going to be buying up the dip. That was the point. What's also interesting is the fact that Coinbase and all these different brokers went down about the same time. Sure, high volume, lots of inflows, I get it, but I'd be willing to bet that the amount of money that was generated from this little stunt here wouldn't be a stretch to assume that some people got their back scratched. Whales, smart money, big money, whatever you want to call it, they have these news wires in their pocket. It's a lot easier to buy the dip when you take out a large percentage of the populace that's buying, right? So if Coinbase and a lot of these brokers go down, even if it's just for a couple minutes, that presents an even greater opportunity for big money to snatch stuff up. So even more tinfoil hatty on that one, but let me know what you think. And so what does this mean for Ethereum Classic and other cryptos? Well, what's interesting is the Bitcoin dominance chart. We talked about this in last night's video, or I guess Monday's, highlighted that little area that was interesting. They were moving straight, had that sell-off and it bounced. So this is kind of interesting. We'll have to see how this plays out. But if you notice, let's put it on a similar time frame. Everything looks really similar. Let's look at a little bit smaller than that. So we'll start at Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum, Doge. Everything kind of follows the same trend right now. And so what's interesting is just that, right? It was, quote unquote alt season. Everything was going crazy, moving independently. Now that we had this big Bitcoin freak out, everything's following Big Brother again. So I don't necessarily think that that means that, alt season is dead. I mean, look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. But they're starting to kind of fall in line like you would expect them to, tracking Big Brother to a degree. So as far as some TA goes on Ethereum Classic, I mean, you don't even really need to do any TA on any of these alts right now. They're tracking Big Brother. So if you want to know how to play some of these alts right now, you got to have the Bitcoin chart up and trade alongside it, because a lot of these moves, I mean, look, so we're selling off a little bit. What's everything else doing right now? Selling off a little bit? Exactly, you get the point. So anyways, traders, that is it. Just a quick one today. So hit the thing, do the stuff, follow me on the stuff and things. If you don't, join the Discord. We'd love to have you. And I'll catch you in the next one.